when someone ghosts you in such a situation, it speaks about them, their narcissism or their insecurity or their lack of etiquette. It's all of the above. How much does it take to do that?
Romantic rejection hurts less than this. Why did you suddenly go cold on me? At the end of the day, I said it's not worth it.
For all you ghosters out there, I'm going to read out some stuff that will guide you through the ghosting process.
Stabilize all the karmas and chakras
Yeah,
with one shot.
that's right. That's right, yeah. Kiran, so there's an epidemic of ghosting. We were speaking with a producer recently, the producer of Not Your Auntie, Aditya Kuber, and he was telling us that in the process of recruiting people and hiring people, he gets applicants, he sets up time for interviews and meetings with them, and then they just fall off the planet, ghost him, or show up a few days later. I thought ghosting only happened
In
between lovers and the romantic setups.
Ghosting is everywhere now. When Aditya told us about this, when he spoke to us about being ghosted professionally, I was very curious. I mean, I was appalled at the courage to ghost a prospective employer. And then I thought, do the employers also ghost people who have sent their stuff up and come in for interviews and gone through 3 or 4 rounds? And I read up about it. About 93% or 94% of employers, C-suite executives, have ghosted prospective employees. So that's a lot of
Kiran,
people.
is that really ghosting though? You
They don't
can't
revert.
possibly revert to everybody
No.
you have shortlisted.
After going through rounds of interviews.
I see.
Yeah, and after doing everything, and some even after setting up celebratory welcome to the team dinners, have been ghosted by employers, prospective employers. It's strange. This has increased after the pandemic, apparently. This trend of ghosting professionally, and the reasons we don't know.
No, I think it has increased after the pandemic because Gen Z has come of age after the pandemic. It has nothing to do with the pandemic. It has
Okay.
to do with this generation that has its own sets of rule book that it lives by. The generation that is really terrible at communication skills because all they know is of online communication, that this has come to pass. Because, and the thing is, our generation, the older generation, is clearly learning from it. Now, like Aditya was saying, that somebody told him, I live far away and I can't travel. That far away was three suburbs away.
For a
right?
marketing job.
For a marketing job, you want the job, you're going to get paid for it, but you don't want to take the effort of hopping onto a train or a metro or an auto or a car to show up for your interview because it's too far and inconvenient to you.
But the job by itself demands that you have to be out on the field. It's a sales and marketing job. How are you going to expect it to perform that job if you don't travel?
And what does it say about you if you won't take this little trouble? Like, I can't take the trouble to show up for an interview. And I know we can't keep saying in our days things were different. Of course, they were different, but we were a byproduct of a very different cultural and social ethos, okay?
And there was a sense of scarcity, right? And there was a fear that if one didn't turn up, one wouldn't get a job, and then perhaps one would not get another job. I think here there is a sense of,
Because
if
we
not
were-
this, something else will turn up.
And also, we were raised by the stick.
Yeah.
That stick is missing.
The stick. But we are raising Gen Zs also.
No, I'm just saying, so that
Yeah.
I agree. So the other thing is that, as I mentioned, and as you said, that employers are doing it too, this is rubbing off on older people as well. Recently, a writer and I were in conversation for an organization that I was inviting the writer to speak at. And he had a speaking fees, and we acquiesced. We said, yeah, okay, we will pay you this for giving a talk. And we were working out dates. Somehow the date that he was interested in didn't work out for us. So after a little back and forth, I reached out to him and gave him a set of many other dates, optional dates, saying that since you have confirmed, but now do these dates work out better for you? So there was no response. And I know this person. So I thought, he must be preoccupied, busy. And there is an unintentional ghosting also. When we are too busy, there are too many text messages, you can miss a few. So I let some time slide. And after 3 weeks, again, I reached out. And again, a warm and friendly message. And again, no response. Okay. So now I was caught in an awkward position because I'd confirmed with the organization that I, being a writer, will facilitate a good established writer for you. And so that day and today I haven't heard from this person. And now, obviously, I'm not interested in following up, but I'm just saying that it's much better to say, sorry, I'm not interested, or the dates don't work out for me, or with an employer, I found a better job option, sir, that is somehow more convenient to me. Do pardon me, but I won't be able to show up for this interview.
Absolutely.
What does it take to say that?
It takes a level of maturity to say that, which
And
obviously does not exist here.
it is maturity isn't defined by
By
age
age,
also.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I had an experience once when an editor contacted me for a publishing house saying that we would like you to write for us, do a book for us. I sent in a synopsis, a perspective, whatever, your chapters, chapter wise synopsis, your theme, whatever, whatever. She was very excited. We had conversations, we discussed it, and then she went cold on me completely. No response to emails, no response to calls, nothing. I think that's fine. It's a professional setup. All you have to say is this doesn't fit in with my list anymore.
Yeah.
And I wish you all the best with
Yeah,
this book.
exactly.
That's it. That's all it would have taken. I met her very recently at Lit Fest, and she was very sweet and nice with me, very friendly. But I was itching to bring up,
I would have brought it up.
why did you suddenly go cold on me? At the end of the day, I said it's not worth it.
Yeah. Well,
It's not worth it, but the
I
fact
mean, I'm not saying
remains.
you have to be aggressive. You could have brought it up just
Yeah,
gently. But
yeah. But
I love to put such people in a spot.
But at the end of the day, I think a little lesser of her, right, today?
Indeed, someone, the editor of a publication, slid into my DMs and writes to me to say, I love the way you write. I love your style. We would love for you to write for us. So I said, of course. So I followed this person back on Instagram. And this is my email address. We exchanged email addresses. And so I reached out to her. And I can't remember what I wrote exactly, but there was no revert. So then I DM'd her to say that maybe it's ended up in your spam folder, but I did write back to you. And let me know what you think. No revert. You reach out to me, and when I respond to that, no revert. About 2 months ago, I had gone to Bhutan. I was checking my mail in the morning. The Madhya Pradesh government has hired some ad agency. That ad agency wrote to me, some guy from the agency, that you do a good amount of travel writing. We would love to collaborate with an influencer like you.
Lovely. I like the quote
I
marks,
don't
air
like the word, so
quotes.
therefore the quote marks. And for paid stroke unpaid collab,
Oh, oh.
please let us know if you would be interested. So I said, I responded saying that, yes, let's talk about this to understand the scope of work and everything. I'm out of the country right now, but I'm back in 3 days. Could we get on a call? No reply.
That is what is annoying. You reach out, you set up a deliverable that you expect.
Yeah.
When you respond to it, after that, there is no response, even before any discussion goes further.
Yeah,
It's
I
very
don't come to
immature.
you with a begging bowl,
Yeah,
right?
it's very immature. It's like, it happens quite a lot. I don't know if you've experienced it. All these little colleges having their TEDx
Yeah,
talks.
yeah,
They will reach out to you saying, we have seen your profile and we think you'll be wonderful
yeah.
inspiration to our
Correct.
students, vagera, 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 rubbish. And these are our dates. And would you like to come? And then you reply, yes, but please give me the exact date and time because I have to figure out other stuff.
Yeah, you're not sitting
Yeah,
free. Yeah.
I have a schedule. Blank, blank, complete blank. Okay, fine. Then if you're not responded, I take it you're not interested. Or maybe, you have emailed a bunch of people. Then you've seen who's at the top of the heap. And depending on order of priority,
I want to
one,
beat these people up.
one has
I want to beat up everybody who doesn't have the decency to say, sorry, it didn't work out, or we are not interested, or no, can't do.
I mean,
How much does it take to do that?
romantic rejection hurts less than this.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully I haven't dated anyone in the time of online ghosting. There was no
Yeah.
online in our time.
You just ignore the person
So, yeah.
after that.
But here's what I want to say. I say this to myself when I can't pretend I'm not vulnerable. Whether it's a friend who goes to you or a professional contact who goes to you, especially if you know the person, it is a little upsetting because it's belittling.
Yes.
But I say this to myself because that person has sort of shown you your place, saying you don't even merit a response. Okay? And if you know that person is when it affects you. If you really don't know, then you're like, okay. when someone ghosts you in such a situation, it speaks about them, their narcissism, or their insecurity, or their lack of etiquette. It's all of the above, or one of the three. Okay,
One more, lack of maturity,
lack of maturity.
emotional maturity.
Correct. Okay.
Completely.
Like so it is really when in under these circumstances, if somebody ghosts you, it is about them, and it's very important. I think that for people to realize this, because I'm sure there are many people. If I at my age can still feel slighted by an act like this, then I can understand how younger people react with this and how extreme the emotional reaction to a professional or even a personal ghosting can be. So I think we really need to know not to take it personally and internalize it. And you should take it personally when you're hounding somebody, when you're hounding someone with follow up mails. I just thought I would like to follow up on our conversation. Would you like to invite my boss on your podcast? 1 week later, this is just a gentle reminder.
I
Mr.
have.
Boss, something, something, something you've never heard of, who is very, very accomplished, would like to be on your podcast. If somebody is hounding you and then we are ghosting, it's all right.
Yeah, I have sent you my book. I hope you've had a chance to read it and review it. Please let me know your thoughts on it. No, Behan. I have too much to read. I am not reading your book. I have initially tried my best to say that, all the best for your books. I'll put up a social media post giving you a shout out. But I do not have the bandwidth to read your book, or I have read 3 pages, and that's more than enough for a lifetime for me.
Yeah.
And I cannot go any further. But in more polite words, that it's not my cup of
Yeah.
tea, I'm not a non-fiction person, or whatever. But they don't seem to take the hint.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's different, right?
But having said all this, I realize now as we talk about it, I have professionally ghosted people too, and I'm like mea culpa.
Really?
Yeah, but this was back in the day when I was young and immature.
Like how?
Like I took on a project way back when I was just starting out, and I did it to the best of my ability. The person who had commissioned it asked for some changes, which I did. Asked for more changes, which I also did. Asked for more changes, which I was getting fed up of by then. I had half the money in, half was supposed to come in after the completion of the project. But the nitpicking got to me, and at the end of it, I was like, F. I'm
Yeah,
not doing this.
okay.
I think today I would
You were
have
harassed.
Yeah, today I would have said that sorry, I'm not doing it anymore. I would have not been so immature as to not take the calls or answer the emails. In retrospect, but back then I was just like I
Also,
don't
you were
want.
also young, yeah,
I
once.
was barely in my 20s
Yeah.
back then, and I was like I don't want to do this anymore. So I sort of get where the Gen Z is coming from, but they don't even get to the point of being harassed. Even before they come for the job interviews, they're ghosting people.
Yeah, they have no commitment. Their only commitment is to themselves. And, it may sound like I'm digressing, but the whole psychology of the vast majority of Gen Z, even when they do something wrong, is that they've been wronged. So recently, somebody I was talking to did something because of which um, some of their rights were forfeited, like the parents took away certain. And this boy was talking to me and he was saying that, Auntie, it's hardly fair that my parents have done this to me. So I said, but look, what have you done? I mean, if I had done that, I'd be skinned alive, okay? He says, yeah, but still, it doesn't justify this. I was talking to my therapist, and my therapist also said that this is a bit extreme. So, firstly, Gen Z is unprofessional. The vast majority, not all, okay? So, I mean, like, don't come after us, Gen Z. We also love you. We've given birth to you.
Yeah, we've raised you.
We've raised you.
We've
given
got
birth to
stretch
you.
marks because of you.
Right. So, I mean, there are some of you who are really sharp and with it, and you got your act together. But there's the vast majority that has very little sense of, owning up to
Whatever wrong you've done.
whatever wrong you've done. Because then if you don't own up, you're not going to change. But your therapists are too busy indulging you. They're too busy telling you that, yeah, we understand. How could you have worked in such an environment? Oh, you're afraid of your boss. I understand. Yeah, it's fine if you ghosted. I don't know. Maybe that's what your therapists are telling you because,
I know. At our time, our therapy was one chittar.
yeah, there's the whole thing. Hawaii Chappal. That was India's therapist in our time.
Stabilize all the karmas and chakras
Yeah.
with one shot.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So maybe
So-
we need to get back to that.
Yeah. Kiran, what about romantic ghosting? The repercussions of romantic ghosting is that, especially when you're younger, you do take it personally.
Absolutely.
You do self harm. Your sense of self is reduced. You begin to second guess every thing you've said and done to wonder what it was that the person did not even think of saying a bye or leave.
You know, it's become endemic these days. I hear about it from my son, about his friends, about what they have experienced. And it seems because the choice and the options are so much. I don't know whether it is the apps, I don't know whether it is the sense of,
Yeah.
transitory relationships
Yeah.
being the norm rather than something for keeps. The sense that moving on is okay. And you shouldn't be mourning somebody too much. You just move on from it.
Is running away from your own feelings.
And lack of responsibility towards a relationship you've been in. Okay, if you've been just chatting with somebody for a few weeks and there has been nothing between you except for some conversations and somebody ghosts you, maybe you're supposed to get over it quickly. But even then, that would hurt because it just shows you that you
Yeah.
are not valid as a
Yeah.
person to spend time with and talk with. And all that time and energy and effort you spent with that person has meant nothing to that person.
Kiran, I live with young people within romantic spectrums and even in between friends. Leaving a message on red
Yes.
is a thing. Okay? Leaving a message on red is a thing and it is very hurtful. Girls do it to girls, boys do it to boys. It's a form of bullying. It's a passive aggressive act to tell you I read your message, but you don't deserve to be replied to. Okay? So
It's a control game.
it's a control game. And it's also, I think, the other thing I realize, especially when people do romantic ghosting, or even between friendships. See, a romantic breakup and a breakup between friendships hurts the same amount.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a well documented, researched fact. So one is this: a lot of young people today are not in touch with their feelings because they're cramming up their mind with scrolling. Because it's a very painful process to sit with your feelings. They've not been taught to sit with boredom. They've not been taught to sit with their feelings. Okay? So one is that. So you're running away from the wound. Because you're running away from the wound, you're hurting other people as you go along.
So this is building a toxic cycle which just continues.
It is. And you don't want to sit with that person and say, I ghosted you because I thought that boy you were speaking to, you were flirting with him. Okay. 1 year into a relationship, I will ghost you because that made me feel insecure. But the person who's been ghosted has no idea, and he or she thinks that they found a better option. Right? So, one is like they don't know how to communicate. Secondly, they don't want to confront their own feelings, let alone somebody else's. And third is they don't like a messy thing. Okay, they want to just pretend it never happened and move on. Now, it also depends on the kind of family you grew up in. In the kind of family that, for example, I grew up in, we talked about uncomfortable feelings. Okay, so if I was upset with something or my mom would upset with something, there'd be drama. Also, we are Punjabi, so drama is
Endemic.
scripted. Yeah. So that would happen. And I'm that kind of a person that if supposing you turn cold on me, Kiran, I know I'll have to sidestep my ego in a lot of issues, but at some stage I'll say, everything okay? Do we need to talk? It's not to say it doesn't make me uncomfortable. But I would rather talk than not talk
Yeah, and get it out there in
and
the
get it
open.
out. But even at my age and even in my generation, I know enough people who've grown up sidestepping their feelings and other people's feelings, and they'd rather not talk and pretend it never happened.
I'm glad you brought this up, Shonali, because I grew up in a family where we didn't learn to deal with confrontation. It was like everything was pushed under the carpet. So when I married my husband, he's a loud North Indian. So the families, I mean, the fights are quick and furious. And at the end of the day, everybody's best friends again. They happen. There's simmering arguments. I mean, there's simmering resentments, whatever. Then one fine day they'll blow up and everything. And I don't know how to deal with it. So it's been a learning process for me that when you get mad, you don't actually. I still do this,
Withdraw.
and yeah,
You don't withdraw.
I still do, in fact. And it's one of my husband's biggest peeves with me that when you get mad, you just go silent on me.
You're my husband. You are Shravan. I'm the Punjabi married to you.
So I think it's part of.
When
I'm unlearning this. I'm trying to unlearn
But
this.
may I just say that the person who's silent has less to get stressed over versus the person who speaks because, being left in that suspense is too much. So, when I was newly married, I suddenly realized that he's being a little weird. And I'd be, everything okay? Yeah, everything's okay. And then it'll come out at a later date. So I don't want that. I want to sleep without wondering why somebody's given me the silent treatment. And by the way, when we were growing up, our parents, I don't know about your mom, but um, if my mom was sulking with me, I'd get like timed silent treatment, like 24 hours, 48 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I learned to do the same thing. Like if Zara disobeyed me, despite repeated requests to, don't do this or do, I would also be sulk and I'd be quiet. And there wasn't so much psychological awareness at the time. And much later, I read, and my friends do the same with their kids. They'll be like, oh, when I have to punish my son, I don't talk to him for 3 days. Yeah? I now understand the repercussion of something like this. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Because you're left feeling that you don't even deserve to be spoken to.
As a
You've committed
child.
such a big crime, and the big crime could be you didn't clean up your room, or you got a 9 out of 25 in math, or whatever. These are my childhood wounds that are spilling out. But I mean, that's how I used to get the silent treatment, and I'm not blaming mom at all because that's what her generation did. But I nearly did that myself until I stopped.
Strangely, I don't do this with the son. I only do this with the husband. So I must investigate why that is so.
No, with the husband, keep doing it.
Yeah.
If you make them too easy, too secure, too loved, then you know how it works. That's fine. Keep up the games.
One shall not ghost husbands, but
Yeah. Okay, so for all you ghosters out there, I'm going to read out some stuff that'll guide you through the ghosting process and maybe make you unghost people. So this is what you can text instead of ghosting. If you're interested in being friends after a date, I've had a great time hanging out, but I'm realizing that I see us more as friends than something romantic. I hope that's okay, and I wanted to be honest about how I feel. If you had 1 or 2 dates and it did not click, I had a good time getting to know you, but I'm not feeling that connection I'm looking for. I just wanted to be honest and not lead you on wishing you my best. This is all given by a psychologist, it's not my own stuff. If you're not interested after a few dates, I've really enjoyed getting to know you, but I don't feel a strong romantic connection. I just wanted to be upfront so we are both on the same page. I wish you my best. If you're not ready for a relationship, I've been doing some thinking and I'm realizing that even though we've been seeing each other the last few weeks, I'm not in the right place for a relationship at the moment. I really respect you, so I wanted to be upfront rather than disappear. So this is that. Okay. Now, what to do when a ghoster comes back?
nice.
If somebody has ghosted you and in a moment of self reflection, a year, 2, 3 years, 1 month, whatever later, they try and come back into your life, here's what you can say. Well, there's a name I didn't think I'd see again. What brings you back? Oh, hey, are we doing that thing where we pretend you didn't ghost me? Kiran, you should have said that in Bangalore. The third is, well, you have come back. Nice to speak to you today, but I don't think I wish to be in touch with you again.
Lovely. That's the perfect reply.
Yeah. Or you can just say, hope you're doing well, but I've gone past the time where I felt like we should be reconnecting. So
Or you
that,
just ghost them in return.
yeah, I mean that is of course the
These are
easiest
the
thing to
polite
do. Yeah.
ways.